This is the slave narrative of Thomas Lewis. Thomas was born in Kentucky in 1857. He was born a slave but was freed when he was about 7 years old. His father was killed in the Civil War and his mother remarried. One day, a gang of white men went to his grandmother's place and ordered the African Americans to go to their plantations and work. Once the wheat was in and the corn was laid, the white farmers would make the African Americans leave and wouldn't give them anything for their work. When the white farmers would come back wanting more help, the African Americans would refuse. Thomas's mother recognized one of the men in the gang and reported him to a standing soldier in nearby Louisville, Kentucky. The man was caught and ordered to tell the names of the other men. There were 360 men reported. They were all round up, made to pay fines, and not allowed to leave until those fines were paid. The rich white farmers paid the fines for the poor ones. Thomas's parents and siblings soon moved to Indiana because they didn't want to have to work for nothing. His mother put herself in the protection of the police until they could get away. During the Civil War, the Union soldiers came through and cannons could be heard because the battle was so close. After it was over, a white man went to the battlefield and he said that one could walk on dead men and dead horses for a mile and a half. One day, rebels were hiding in a barn and the Union soldiers were nearby. Thomas had a cousin named Jerry who was near the barn. A white man asked him if he liked to be free, and Jerry said yes. The white man told him to come with him into the barn. The white man tricked him. The man had the intention of beating Jerry, and just when the man leaned Jerry over the barrel, getting ready to beat him, Union soldiers bombarded the barn, and Jerry was able to escape. Thomas's slave master told them not to leave when they saw Union soldiers because the slave master thought that his slaves were well off and had no need to go off and be free. Thomas said there was no such thing as being good to slaves. A slave belonged to his master, and there was no way for the slave to get out of it. It was hard to control a strong male slave. Sometimes those strong slaves would fight, and the white men holding them would be breathless because they knew they couldn't control him. They would likely just kill him. Killing a strong slave who resisted would be the same as self-defense. If a master whipped a slave to death, it put fear in the other slaves. The brother of the man who owned his mother had many slaves, and he was a cruel man. Once he was threshing wheat with a groundhog threshing machine run by horsepower. He called to a female slave, but she didn't hear him because of the noise of the machine. He leaped off the machine to whip her, but got his foot caught in the cog, and his foot had to be amputated. The slaves were said to be very superstitious, believing in spirits, bad omens, and demons. Thomas heard of there being a high fence. It was said that when someone got near the high fence, they could hear the cries of the black slaves who were beaten to death. It was kept secret so that no one would find it. Sometimes those areas were fenced off to keep people away. Once a man was out with a friend and his dog chased something behind a high fence. His friend warned him not to go after the dog because the land was haunted by black spirits. Thank you for telling your story, Uncle Thomas. May you rest in peace. If you'd like to hear more slave narratives, like, share, and subscribe for more content. Log on to burksbooks.com to purchase my book that has slave narratives and pictures of real African American slaves. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.